And hopefully by fall, we will have our students, undergraduate students joining for their senior design, which in the past we had also senior design projects by CSE, like 3, 4 students. One time, one cycle I had, it was a very successful one with the L3 Harris, and they even decided that they want to leverage their senior design to graduate studies, which become the Alex's thesis. And I think that that was a successful effort. And I hope that that's going to be the same case from here. So, Amir, Adam, I'll let everything go with you, and let's see, um, um, like, what are the updates and what are your thoughts about our summer plans and basically everything that has to happen in a matter of like 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, no. I think I will talk about the ICML and a couple of things that I've been thinking about, but I'll wait until Adam, finishes his thoughts and updates.
Yeah, okay. So I guess the summary of what I did this week was I created a dynamic point controller based off of some of the UUV simulator code that I found, and they had a short tutorial on how to like update points. Then I generally just did a lot of research into the construct tutorials and UUV simulator projects files that they don't talk about, and reading through those, and learned how to use one of the other robots that they have in the simulator to test out the commands they have. They have a couple of different services. I can do a short tutorial if you'd like.
Oh, that sounds good. So, Adam, you mentioned about the point, like in the beginning, you mentioned about like a point tracking, like you mean the target tracking or like a trajectory generation for the UUV.
Um, so you can control the UUV with waypoints, which are a class in the UUV simulator. This is just a file that I keep all the commands as a way of like running demos. But so waypoints can be stored in like a file format like this, and the robot can read these file formats and go to the different points. There's also a go-to service, which is basically just sending one of these points and telling it, hey, figure out your trajectory and go to this point. There's various settings you can set. And then
Adam, I have to interrupt you, but I think you're doing the right thing by what you're doing right now. Because once the senior design hits, like in the fall, the reason I did not start a spring cycle was that I wanted us to be prepared. And the most important thing is that the students arrive, but they need a very careful like coordination. And I want us to train them. I want us like what you're doing right now, document everything that you're learning so they are not lost. Because that happened in one of the cycle, I mean the prior cycle, we were able to do like manage it, but it's better for one undergraduate to actually have an idea about exactly a lot of things that we are already doing, and they get the training. So the documentation is a plus. What I see here, like you creating the summary and the the command summary, they are both good, and I always encourage. It takes time. I completely understand. Yeah, go ahead, continue.
yep. So the first set of commands here is just what I showed in the previous meeting. It's just been recorded so that we have them. But so to send a waypoint from a file, this uses the dynamic point controller that I created. It essentially, we start up the robot, and I'll drag them over to this screen when they finally render. So we can see our Rex ROV right there. And then there's an RViz, so we can see some of the points. Okay, and I need another window. So now I'm sending out a call to a service that reads a file, and it'll read this file here and tell the robot to drive that trajectory. And then you can see the trajectory being generated in the RViz, and that's the path it will follow.
Oh, so this is the pre-settled points that you
Yep.
already know where they are, and those distances are in meter or feet or whatever they are, right?
So roughly, each of these points is probably one of these curves, somewhere around there. This is the trajectory that the robot generated to travel to roughly all of these points.
And the coordinate system is the same as north east down. That, I mean, with Ben's project, that's what we use for the UUV. Like there's a inertial one in the surface of the sea, north east down. I see like a blue, green, red, and it looks like on the left hand side. Yeah.
Oh, you here?
Yeah, the
Yep.
center of the
So
coordinate.
the coordinate system is the last point is your, I guess I don't know if it's a z-axis, but that's what I generally think of it as, and then your x and your y.
Well, then all of your z's are negative, right?
Yep.
Well, the way that they do it, I have seen both in drones and both in UUVs, is north east down, which is like north is like the in the surface, but well, as long as you have a right hand or even the left hand that you stay consistent, that should be fine. So that's the one that they are. Okay, so you just set up the basically your waypoints, and it is following those in the
Yep.
UUV simulator, right? You are not doing any sort of like a control for that. It's just using the controller that the
Yep.
UUV simulator has.
Well, I wrote the DP controller, which is what takes the waypoint commands. It listens for waypoints, and then it finds this path. It's based off of a tutorial that exists on the UUV simulator website, which I can show. If I go to, this will be easier. So this is a dynamic positioning controller. Basically, by the time you get to the end of it, it's listening for updates to the waypoints, which is a service that is in ROS, and then it takes the first waypoint. It's a queue, so you get a waypoint, and then it generates its path, goes to that waypoint, and goes on.
Nice.
So I wrote that code based on this code. This is a file that they have as an example, which is what we fed the robot with this command here. We just called send waypoints from a file, and that reads this file and adds all the waypoints to the waypoint service, and then we proceed to go to them.
So being a control guy, I mean, the first thing that I am gonna be doing here is to throw like a disturbance, like a cross flow, and see can it like recover the drift that is occurring on the UUV. Do you think that it can do that based on the controller it has, or can you like generate any disturbances
You
and then
can
recover
generate
that?
disturbances in the UUV simulator. You can generate what they call plumes. So right here, they have another tutorial on generating
Oh yeah,
disturbances that,
that's even a section. Yeah, the
yep.
control people, that's all they think. But it's not the main point. The main point is like to have that capability. Okay.
Yep.
Is
So
it?
they do have documentation on doing this. I have not gone through
Oh
and
look,
followed it,
can
but
you go up? Thruster failure. Those are the things that, I mean, this is the part that we're gonna definitely look into. But like there was a thruster failure, and that actually is gonna be one of our studies.
so they have thruster and propeller efficiency loss.
It's a lot of information to absorb. Yeah,
Yep.
to absorb. But just go as much as you can, because to my experience in the applied research center where I work, normally as much as the universities we thrust on the fancy side of the machine learning, and then like a more advanced but not necessarily established and standardized, the industry side is typically they are looking more of a low level hardware and more established. And it's good to learn, but there's not as much of a innovation or excitement in terms of what is next type of thing. So that transfer failure is going to be like, one of the things that is we are trying to accomplish here is also to train also our other graduate student that he has been working on the MATLAB and Simulink for the most part, and he did a great job. He will be presenting for us probably next time about how he's detecting and diagnosing those failures. So that's why I am interested in the thruster failure. But that is to, the failures could be either internal or external. Like if you see a drift, it could be like a freeze in your thruster, or it could be because of other activities. So you think that this is a reliable platform so far based on what you have seen, or is it like a black box that
It
yes, you use
it
it?
definitely has its limitations. Mainly in quite a few of these tutorials uh, haven't been updated in quite a while, and so we're using a different version of ROS than they are, and you kind of have to solve a bunch of small problems yourself. If something's depreciated or one of their commands isn't in order, it doesn't tell you, oh, you need to rebuild the directory, stuff like that.
But didn't we
Um,
go back to Ross Melodic from the Noetic?
we're still on melodic. I Noetic is being worked on, um,
Yeah.
but it's unreliable, so I'm using melodic for now.
So
Um,
Melodic is the same one that like we gonna, I mean, based on what I see from the last update meeting, that's what we're gonna be also using as of now to for the simulations, and that's what the UUV simulator is using primarily, right? The 18 point something.
yeah. So right now I'm on a 1804 Ubuntu distro, and melodic doesn't work natively on 2004, which is the newest LTS for Ubuntu.
Oh yeah,
So
that's the Ubuntu version with the
we've got
raster.
some time still while there's still support. Um, melodic is the one is the ROS simulator for 1804, and Notic is the ROS simulator for 2004.
Yeah.
And right now, the UUV simulator project is not compatible with Notic, at least not natively. There are a couple of workarounds that I've found on the forums, but I'd prefer to make progress on our actual research than test which workarounds work and
Yeah,
find out later that
definitely.
they're not working.
I don't know, like mm, I don't want us. I mean, it. The thing is that we are very small, and we have to be very focused. We have to stay very focused, very like into point what we are trying to do. I saw that you even tried another platform, which is the autonomous AUV, which our actually sponsors are primarily interested on the autonomous capabilities for undersea, and this is a version that is really like resembles Remus. Is there anything new that on this? I saw actually the side scans from the last time, but they were very low resolution. Did you find any
Yeah,
better way?
the resolution was bad because I had to do it remotely. Um,
Oh,
I
okay.
I can hopefully this will look better for you. Um, we shall see. And if it's not, I did upload a video to the Google Drive. So right now, um, this is using. I'm gonna show an example of the go-to service, which only works with the AUV.